Hey, this is Aaron with Solitude Springs Farm here in Fairbanks, Alaska area. We're going to look a little bit at the question of whether, and I'll just put this down here for display, vinifera grapes can actually survive in the interior. And granted, the farm is not the most representative of the areas, but it is located in the interior. So this is a cutting off of Gewürztraminer, and this is a 5-year-old plant. It's been through winters of like 2 years ago. Winter was minus 43, so that is minus 41C, and the very relatively low snow cover. So, and that's primarily what protects this particular vine. About 18 inches of snow. I think probably about that time it was probably about 14 or 15. So, a little bit of snow. It hasn't been through any particularly long cold spells in the last 5 years. So, we still have to test that. But this is growth out of the second bud from the base of this cane. And this hardened off last fall in a year that was probably, it was above average rainfall, but below what the grapes still, what grapes actually need. So it was still a little bit drought stressed. In the fall, it started turning its leaves about the 1st of September. By the end of September, there was quite a bit of what appeared to be periderm formed on the shoot. 2 shoots actually. This is one of 2, and I'll show you the other one in a second. But so we went out there this year and we cut it back in the spring, hoping, and we left 2 or 3 buds on each of these new shoots, not knowing where the actual periderm was good to. And so I'll show you though. This is actually quite small wood. You look at it and you think, well, that's pretty good size. But here's what minimum size of what you want is this pencil. And so you can see that it's much less than pencil thickness. And for this vine to survive up here and fruit, I would assume that this is 1/4 of an inch or about 7 centimeters or 7 millimeters. What you really need is closer to 3/8 of an inch or 10 centimeters for these. Now this is like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 centimeters or 5 millimeters, way less than 1/4 of an inch. And so it's surprising to us that it actually did survive and sprout out. It was late to sprout, and the thing about Gewürztraminer up here is that it just pushes a ton of buds around the very base of the cane, so it doesn't push the cane buds until a week or 2 after it starts to push, which we'll need to work on. But I don't think you can see this. Yeah, it's pretty much yellowed up now, but it was bright green when I cut it, and we just cut it today. It's the 16th of July. We left the other one on the bud below this. It's growing very vigorously, so we left that on there. It also has a shoot out from the head. We trained it to a head. It's really all we could get it to do for the time being, but we don't really want to go any higher than that because it needs to be near the ground to retain enough cold hardiness for the winter. So this is the other cutting that we took. This is 3 buds. This is the other shoot that hardened off last year, and it didn't bud out particularly well. Obviously, this is the first bud to push on it actually here. So, and it's green inside, but we're just the vine's not very big. It's in a pot in the ground. And it's been kind of slow to establish, but this year it's doing pretty well. So what we want to do is we propagated this a little bit, and we're going to put out a couple of vines on the terraces, actually in the dirt rather than in a pot, because why not? We left it in the pot because then if it died, we could just pull the pot out and replace it with something else. But anyway, so that is, again, it's much smaller than, that gives you an idea there of how small that wood is. And honestly, we have varieties that size of wood will not survive here. So again, we keep telling people it's not the hardiness of the vine that is the problem up here so much. It is, will they shut down and form periderm in the fall? That is the question, because most vines do not. They simply will not form the wood they need to survive the winter. So they go into the fall like this green color right here. And when the first freeze hits, 26, 27 degrees, this all dies. This all dies. Whereas this, obviously, does not die. It's the processes that it goes through in order to prepare for the winter are complete once it does this, and then it can survive, you know, sub-freezing temperatures. Like I said, this went down to about -10, supposedly. It's Gewürztraminer, so it's not the hardiest one of the vinifera, but it's fairly hardy, and that's about -23 Celsius. So that's about as far down as this wine will handle above ground. We have been concerned because obviously the roots of vinifera are not nearly as hardy as some of the other vines we have. And so we thought, you know, 43 below, thin snow cover, what's that going to do to the roots? And this actually, you know, this part right here, and it grew, gosh, I think it was probably about 1/3 of a meter high last year. Again, not a lot of water on it, so it didn't get particularly tall, but 1/3 of a meter, about 30 inches. But again, it's the whole idea of whether the vines will actually start to go dormant in the fall early enough and form this wood on thick enough shoots, and that's what actually determines whether they'll survive up here. And then if you, of course, you do have a consistent snow cover usually. We did get a rainstorm in October last year that damaged some other plants that we have on the farm, but obviously it didn't damage this one much. This one was good to go. So anyway, I think that was all I wanted to cover. But yeah, I mean, the one vine, I always tell myself, if there was one vine that I could grow, vinifera style up here, and with the potential to make at least a sparkling wine out of it, it would be Gewürztraminer. I just love the wine that's produced from it, especially if it's off dry. So anyway, we'll bring you an update in a little bit. We're about halfway through the summer, and so for now,